Hi, my name is Sam O'Connell. I am the Natural Resource Manager for the City of Mentor. In 2012, Mentor started its Urban Deer Management Program. We're 8 years in, and we believe we're finally approaching management levels. So this is an update on the status of our efforts and what we've learned so far. A little background on our program for those who aren't familiar. Mentor is located in Northeast Ohio, right along Lake Erie. It's a city of 50,000 with 1,200 acres of green space, including the Mentor Lagoons Nature Preserve and the Mentor Marsh State Nature Preserve. Mentor's what I would consider mixed use. We have a robust industrial center as well as commercial, residential, and green space. This means it's an ideal location for edge species like deer to thrive in. One of the primary reasons that Mentor made the decision to begin managing its deer population was in response to a substantial increase in deer vehicle collisions. In 2013, the first year of the program, 97 deer vehicle collisions were reported. Fast forward to 2019, there were 39 deer vehicle collisions, representing a 60% decrease, and 29 wasn't even our best year. Our management program combines the efforts of archery hunting, which runs throughout the regular season to access private property, as well as the use of the Mentor Police Department SWAT team for removal operations, which occur after the regular hunting season in areas that the public can't access. The goal has always been that eventually the archery hunters will be able to do the bulk of the removal work, and that hasn't panned out yet. They've proven to be a vital component of our management efforts. Their harvest helps to compensate for years where city removal operations have not been as successful as we would have liked them to be. Another reason the city decided to start managing deer was to reduce the browse pressure on our native plants. We've seen substantial increases in biodiversity in our parks since the beginning of our program, and Mentor Lagoons Nature Preserve has become one of the best spots in our area to come see the spring wildflowers that the deer used to decimate. And of course, one of the things we're most proud of in regards to our deer management program is the venison donation. Every year, the deer we harvest as part of our program are processed and donated to the Cleveland Food Bank, which is then redistributed back into our county, Lake County. We've donated many thousands of pounds of venison over the past 8 years. It feels good to know that we're not only reducing deer vehicle collisions, improving the health of our deer, increasing biodiversity in our parks, and helping to feed those in need. So because hunters play such a huge role in our management efforts, we try to provide them with all the assistance they need to be successful. Our program has seen ups and downs in terms of registered hunters, but it looks like it's beginning to stabilize at this point in time. Now the question we're trying to answer is how do we recruit new hunters and keep them? I've put a lot of time and effort into improving communication with the hunters so that they feel valued and they understand they're playing a part here. They aren't just here to hunt trophies. They're helping the community. The program started out with 65 hunters and peaked at 92 the following year. There's been a downward trend since then, but last year we had 40 hunters, up 3 from the previous season. This year we're on track to have more than 40. I'm projecting mid to upper 40s. But being a city, there's not much land to hunt that isn't already tapped into. The nature of our parks make them not conducive for private individuals to utilize, but we're looking at ways to help new hunters who want to come be part of the program get land to hunt on. Hunter harvest has generally decreased over time, much like hunter registration, but last year we saw the first increase in a while, and I'm hoping that trend continues this year as well. Just to drive home how vital archery hunters are to our efforts, take a look at this graph. The orange line shows deer harvested per hunter in Mentor. The blue line shows deer harvested per hunter in Ohio. So as you can see, in 2019, there was about 1.5 deer harvested per hunter in Mentor and 0.49 deer harvested per hunter in the state. To put it another way, if you compare our average hunter, not just the successful ones, but the average harvest of all of our hunters to the average successful hunter in the state of Ohio, ours match or outperform them nearly every year. And why is that? I think it can be attributed to a few different factors. Every year we apply for controlled hunt status from ODNR, which allows our hunters to make better use of deer management tags and harvest additional antlerless deer in our city. Our program also carries with it the prestige of being one of, if not the most successful urban deer management programs in the state, and we like to let our hunters know this. We pride ourselves on making these hunters feel included and letting them know we appreciate their hard work, because they're playing a substantial role in making our efforts a success, and we give them all the tools and support possible to make their hunt a success. If they have issues, we encourage them to come to us and discuss, and I let them know I want to be their first phone call. In terms of the city's management efforts, we've seen some fluctuation in the annual harvest throughout our program. The second year of our program, 277 deer were removed, and in 2017, only 42 were removed. The past 2 years have stabilized somewhat with 80 and 98 deer, and I think we're beginning to settle into a groove where we're approaching management levels. That said, I'm not one for mission accomplished speeches. These are ongoing issues that will likely require our attention and efforts indefinitely, and I think that's an important message for us to convey when we talk about our program and the efforts of the past 8 years. Over time, the age structure of our deer herd has shifted. As you can see at the outset, in 2013, we had a significant proportion of our herd being aged 4.5 and older. We're at a point now where you would expect to see these age ranges stabilize, and I'm projecting that this year we'll have almost the exact same composition that we did last season. Something interesting you can see in this data as well is that in 2018 and 19, we harvested more 2.5-year-old deer than we typically do. Why is that? Well, in 2017, our harvest was much lower than we'd hoped for, and this resulted in the population's age composition shifting slightly. Keeping track of information like this provides you with a different way to look at your population and ways for you to confirm what you're seeing. It's entirely possible that in 2017 there really just weren't as many deer as we thought, but when you look at this chart, this indicates that no, there were just deer that we missed that in a typical year we wouldn't have. Another metric we use for tracking the health of our herd is the average weight of harvested individuals. These weights peaked back in 2019, and we saw a little bit of a setback in 2020, likely due to an increased population of deer as well as recruitment from outside the city. As you can tell, our deer are putting on more and more weight on average per year, meaning our herd was pretty unhealthy due to the lack of resources in the first years of the program. The average weight in 2013 was only about 100 pounds. By 2019, they'd put on 32 pounds, and you could tell the deer are healthier. We also monitor things like the sex ratio of our herd as an indicator of overall herd health. This has changed over time, with the graph showing the average sex ratio of both our deer management operation Harvest and the Archery Hunter Harvest. This isn't an exact representation of the ratio of our population, of course, because the state limits how many bucks can be harvested in a management operation, as well as the amount of bucks that can be harvested by a private individual. So we rely on additional sets of data to help flesh out what the actual ratio of males to females is. According to our trail camera survey, the ratio is a lot closer to 2 females to 1 male, or 1 female to 1 male, which tracks a lot closer with what you would expect from a herd that is achieving management levels and the ideal health. We do collect fetal data as part of our deer management operations. I know it's not for everybody, but I feel it provides a really valuable set of data to compare against. In addition to recording fawn sex, we also document the litter sizes and use that to monitor herd health. At the outset of the program, our litter sizes were pretty out of whack, largely due to the increased pressure of food scarcity that having an overpopulation causes. You could tell the population was not very healthy at this time because the large proportion of single fawns conceived and the very small percent of triplets. Ideally, you'd see something around a ratio of 2/3 twins, 1/6 singlets, and 1/6 triplets, reproductive output for a doe of average health. As you can see, in 2013, the first year of the program, there was a substantially larger percent of single fawns being conceived. This is a result of food scarcity and population pressures. As the program has gone on, however, you can see in 2019 we achieved what is effectively a perfect ratio, which supports that in 2019 our herd health was very good. In 2020, we see a minor setback which tracks with our projection that the population increased that year, likely due to immigration or too low of a harvest the previous season, but it matches with our average birth rates, so we know we're still heading in the right direction. Overall, we have some work to do with correcting the average and getting it to hold stable from year to year. Based on the past few years, we've made real progress to stabilizing our litter size, which indicates stabilization of our herd's health as well. We also use this fetal data to track things like conception and parturition, also known as rut and fawn season. This provides insight into the unique situation in our city. For example, rut seems to be slightly earlier in Menor than the conventional wisdom, which is the second week of November. Ours is the first. This can help us better prepare outreach to educate residents about deer vehicle collisions, and it also helps our archery hunters to know when the best time of the year to be in their tree stand is. And it helps us prepare to communicate with the public about fawns as well. If you watch my talk on goose management, this chart is going to look familiar to you. I feel a lot of our success is based around these concepts, which I apply to all forms of natural resource management. Persistence. Every year we go out and manage our population. We've got a very limited time frame for this every year, so we prepare to the best of our ability so we can make the most of the 16 nights a year we get for this. Regardless of how the previous night's removal operations went, we're back at it again the next day. We've learned that this isn't the kind of project where you can afford to get lax. Consistency. For the most part, we run our deer management program at the same time every single year, and we've never missed a season. Our efforts are consistent, and at this point, we've got it down to a formula, and that's been huge for our year-to-year success. At this point, it's just fine-tuning and making sure everything is running as smoothly as possible. And don't get me wrong, we've still got room to grow, but I feel like we've got a pretty firm grasp on what it takes to get this done and see results. Collaboration. Another huge reason behind the success of our program is that we've had tremendous support from organizations like ODNR and USDA Wildlife Services. Jeff Westerfield with ODNR has been essential to the success of this program, and he's always made himself available anytime I've got questions or need to talk through a decision. His input was vital for the creation of our deer management program, and it still is today. Another huge reason for our success has been the public's willingness to work with us and allow us to access private properties as part of our deer management efforts. Without being able to access these properties, we wouldn't have the significant reach we do throughout the city. And of course, the hunters. While some people may be inclined to look at hunters as their own separate thing, I view them as members of my team and know that they're essential to our management operations. Communication. Another reason why this program has been so successful is our communication. Everyone involved communicates with each other regularly, from my team on the ground to the police department and the higher-ups. We're constantly in communication with everyone involved, asking what we could do better. What's the next step we need to take to make this thing run even better than it did last year? Continuity. Of course, from the top down, it's been accepted that this is a necessary project and it will continue indefinitely. This is such an important thing to convey when you're talking about something like wildlife management, where there is no one-and-done solution. Setting that expectation for everyone involved, yourself included, is absolutely essential to success. And reflection. Every year we collect huge amounts of data during our deer management program. We review this data and reflect on what it means. What was our herd health like last year? Did we take enough deer? How have the demographics changed since last season? And what does this tell us for next year? We write reports and present them to ODNR and city management. And of course, we discuss what we can do better next year too. This process of reflection helps ensure that we're going to have the most successful program possible. So what's next for us? Well, we hope to continue to work on hunter recruitment and retention. Like I discussed, they're an absolutely vital component of our management efforts, and we need to continue working on getting new hunters into Mentor and keeping the ones we've already got. This will pay off more and more as our population settles into management levels. We're also aiming to expand our survey efforts next year as well, purchasing more trail cameras and improving our efforts there, revamping the methodology we use for vegetation surveys and pellet counts, and exploring new technology and how it can be used to improve our efforts. Things like handheld thermal cameras, drones, and more. And of course, just keep improving every year. Even if we're satisfied with the way our program runs, we'll never run out of things that we can improve on. And without asking, what can we do better, we'll stagnate. Hi, my name is Sam O'Connell. I am the Natural Resource Manager for the City of Mentor. In 2012, Mentor started